Today marks the 10th anniversary of the death of Libyan Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi ruled Libya with an iron fist for 42 years after a 1969 coup against the monarchy. In 2011, he was toppled in a revolt inspired by the Arab Spring uprisings and backed by NATO. On October 20th of that year, rebels tracked him down to his hometown, Sirte, tortured him and killed him in the street. But his death has failed to bring democracy or stability. Instead, Libya has fractured along regional and ideological lines, with militias vying for control of the oil-rich country. Joining me from Paris is Mustafa Fetouri, a Libyan academic, award-winning journalist and analyst. Mustafa Fetouri, just how unstable is Libya today?
Well, thank you for having me. First of all, compared to 5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, it's much better, a little bit better, I would say. But compared to 10 years ago, when it was under Gaddafi, it's totally unstable, the whole country. Not alone in terms of security, but everything else that has to do with the state, the economies, the planning, you name it. It's a very unstable situation. We also had a spate of, terrorist organizations and individuals operating in the country, which we never had before, 10 years ago.
So what is life like today for ordinary citizens?
Well, it depends where you are in the country. I mean, in places like the capital, Tripoli, life seems to be going on more or less, despite the fact that it has, occasional problems like shortages of fuel, despite the fact that we are an oil-producing country, as well as high rocketing daily prices, lack of security. And as you go away from the capital, the situation gets even more difficult with lack of cash in the banking system, especially in rural areas, and makes it difficult. Sometimes it becomes a quite, struggle to, obtain the daily necessities of food and things like this, especially the water supply, which depends too much on the man-made river project that supplies 70% of the water from the desert areas to the coastal areas. And sometimes it's cut by the militias because they want some money, or they're asking for some kind of services to their areas, and so on and so forth. So it's quite complicated.
But they will be soon voting in elections, those Libyan citizens. Is there any hope that those elections can resolve the current crisis?
No, not really. I don't think they will resolve the crisis, but they will kind of usher in a different view, if you like, of the situation among the different protagonists in the country itself, as well as their foreign backers. I do not really count, while elections are very likely to take place on the 24th of December this year, I do not really think that will be a kind of, a solution to the crisis itself. But I think it will be a very good step in that direction.